Okay.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome, Cozette, to this YouTube channel. And I was telling Cozette, I never tell people, but if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I'd love it if you do so. I think Cozette is my 39th or 40th interview in the last year and 2 months since I started doing the interview. So it's been so wonderful. I was talking to
hmm
Cozette before we started recording, and her story is so beautiful. It really touched my heart. So without further ado, Cozette, if you can tell us your story about how the Jehovah's Witnesses came into your life.
Uh, start when how I became a Jehovah's Witness. Okay. Well, I started going to the hall when I was 3 years old. My mom, she started studying with the witnesses for about 2 years and then got baptized in 1971. And so that's how I started going to the Kingdom Hall, uh, associating with a lot of the friends there. But I grew up very shy, but it was hard for me to make friends my age going to the Kingdom Hall. They didn't weren't very social to me. They were like in their own little world, in their own little group of youngsters socializing with them. So I grew up uh, making it was hard for me to make friends with youngsters my age. And so we would have uh, there were some good times going to the Kingdom Hall. I would say, like, they don't call them parties, they would have gatherings where people come there, socialize, eat food, and just have social that way. One of the sisters at the congregation, she would have picnics where the whole congregation would come there, play ball, games, stuff like that. Every summer, she lived. Um, Her husband was a park forest owner. Uh, he owned a park, not far from where the Kingdom Hall was. He was like a park ranger, and he took care of the park and everything. And so that's where we went to have picnics, and it was nice. I enjoyed myself as a child growing up, and in our congregation we had picnics, and other brothers and sisters would come and they would bring food and sit out on the benches, and it was nice. So
And I know that you didn't get baptized until your 20s. So what happened between the time when you were going to you were describing of associating with everyone
mhm.
to then not getting baptized into your 20s?
um, what made me decide that, I guess, during the time my brother got shot in 1991, and I was studying off and on then, with a sister, the same sister that I said was a pioneer. And so I decided to just start my study back. This was after I graduated high school in 1987, and my brother got shot in 1991. And we had moved from Chicago to out here to Harvey, Illinois, the south suburbs, right outside Chicago. And so that's what made me start a Bible study um, with her, and to give the religion a try. And I studied with her for about a year, almost a year before I got baptized.
And
And
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
she was a pioneer, her and her mom, and I studied with her. And
Okay.
I was going to the meetings and out in field service and everything before I got baptized. And you know how they go over the questions with you before baptism. I went over that, and I got baptized at a circuit assembly.
And I
And
remember what I was going to say is I remember you saying that at that point when your brother got shot, you're like, well, maybe this is the truth. So then that
Mhm.
kind of propelled you into that
Yeah,
direction.
yeah.
And after you then got baptized, what happened then after you got baptized? Did you feel that you had a closer relationship to your mom? Because I know that you said that your mom was a witness. And where were your other siblings? Because I know you said you're the youngest of 5 kids.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have that much a close relationship with my mom even after I was baptized. Uh, I, I started seeing things that I didn't see before I was baptized, like when I would go out and field service with my instructor. She was a pioneer, her and her mom. And then began to see I wasn't allowed to participate in Bible studies. And I was like, why am I being left out of Bible studies? You know, at least read a scripture or give a comment. And I was being left out of that. And she told me, my Bible instructor told me that I wasn't supposed to comment on a Bible study. And I didn't ask why, but I didn't understand that. And I really didn't understand why I wasn't able to participate in a Bible study. I was baptized, and I was going with her out on her Bible studies and stuff, but I wasn't allowed to participate in. So I saw that. Then I saw the attitudes that a lot of the sisters and brothers had in the congregation. They were funny acting. Like one of my mom's friends would come by and pick her up, and she was acting like she didn't want to wait for her to go out and field service, wait for her to get in the car, different stuff like that. I started noticing different attitudes in people, and but and then also this was before I met my husband there at in the congregation. He was studying with an elder in the congregation, and that's how we met. And he seemed like a nice guy. And then he had offered to take my mom home from the meeting, take me and my mom home because I didn't have a car. So he would offer us rides to take us home, and that's how I met him. And yeah, he was baptized, but he wasn't active in the organization. He wasn't, excuse me, giving comments. He wasn't going out in field service, giving talks. He wasn't doing things like that. And I didn't really notice that until after I had left the organization, how he was just baptized and that was it. Because he was married before and had kids from that marriage. Yeah.
So you guys got married and he was inactive and
Yeah.
you were active in the religion. And then
Yeah.
how did that work? Did you try to encourage him to come to the meetings?
He would come on his own, but he was more into me. Like at that time, I didn't realize like he was coming over my parents' house. I lived with my parents at the time, and I was helping my handicapped brother. And so he was always over there, like always over there every day. If he wasn't calling, he was always over there every day. And the things that I wasn't paying attention to at that time, after I had left the organization, I began to realize and pay more attention to how this man was. He would come by, just spend all day there. He was always up under me, always there. And I remember my brother was telling me that that's a sign of control, that when they always around. And my brother knew, he said he knew that this guy was very sexually active just from that. And I didn't know that, because I didn't know what to look for in a date at that time. And being a Jehovah's Witness, they don't tell you the proper way of what to look for in a marriage mate because you didn't know what to look for in that. And what I didn't like about when I was in the organization, um, that I realize now is what they tell you, what to look for in a marriage mate when it comes to pioneering. If he's a pioneer, this what makes a good marriage mate. Or if he's an elder, oh, he makes a good marriage mate. Or circuit overseer, go by those titles. And I remember Lady C used to say that they would go by these titles, and that would make a good marriage mate. And that's not what you look for when you're looking for a partner. You look for their personality, the things that they like, if he's the right type of person that interests you. And I began to study, look, listen to, right after I left the organization, I began to listen on the radio with a lady. Her name was Dr. Laura Schlusinger. I don't know if you heard of her, but back in the 90s, she used to be on the radio, and she used to talk about what to look for in a marriage partner. She said you should actually date a person for a while before you get married to them. Like, give the marriage at least 5 to 10 years. I mean, the dating part at least 5 to 10 years before you marry them. That way, you know what what you're getting inside of a marriage partner. You know their habits. If they're you get men. Some men are mama's boy. They love their mama, listen to their mama more than their wife. It's all kind of stuff that I didn't know what to look for in a marriage partner when I was studying to be a Jehovah's Witness. And so I learned a lot from her, Dr. Laura Schlesinger. Yeah.
How
And
I'm now I know I feel like I'm cutting you off, but go ahead.
yeah, you could go ahead.
No,
If
I was just gonna say, how long did you stay in that marriage for, and how did it end?
Well, I stayed in the marriage for, it was less than 6 months. He was very sexually active, very sexually abusive towards me. And I really don't, he said he had a job, but I really don't think he had a job where he actually worked. I mean, he stayed in his home, and it didn't seem like he actually worked anywhere. And I didn't really know too much about him like I should have. And then the elders were judging me, saying it's your fault. You married him. Don't you know what sex is and all this? It would act telling me stuff like that. I was being blamed for marrying this man, and uh, I was laughed at by both my parents because I married him, and being mistreated. It was a bad time for me. And they were trying to, my Bible study instructor, the lady I was studying the Bible with, she was trying to get me to come back to listen to this talk about marriage right after I had this judicial hearing. And I told her, no, I didn't want to listen to that because I knew what they were trying to get me to do. They was trying to use her to convince me to come back to the hall, come back to my husband, and deal with it. And I didn't want to do that. No, I didn't want to. I didn't want to do that. They talk about you're supposed to be submissive under abuse like that, and I don't want to go back to that. And to this day, I still feel emotional about it, but I feel like Jehovah has moved me forward from that. And there's a reason why things happen. There's a reason why I'm listening to ex Jehovah's Witnesses, and the reason why we're connected. So there's a reason for things. And and now when I hear about abuse, especially in Jehovah's organization, I get very emotional because I know that they're not getting the help that they should be getting. I know that they're not getting help in there.
You are so right. Was
Yeah,
that the last time you went to the meeting was after your husband and you broke up?
yeah.
And
And but I've been back to the Kingdom Hall, but it wasn't nothing like before, just a visit, but not to get deeply involved in the organization. It was just maybe a visit to the Kingdom Hall, something like that. Yeah. But it wasn't the same. I didn't feel the same about it. Yeah. It was
and,
very different.
and what has have they tried to bring you back? The pressure from your mom? Has there been any kind of internal struggle for you to push them away, or has it been kind of easy for you to kind of set a boundary?
Been kind of easy for me to try to set a boundary. They tried to get me to come back to the meetings, and but it was nothing like before. I never got deeply involved in the religion too much. Not, you know, not like before where I was going out in field service or even trying to give a talk was very hard for me. I didn't like giving talks because it was very time consuming and doing all that research and writing out and I just felt a lot of pressure being in that. I didn't feel like this was the path for me. Even when I was in the organization, I never felt like this was the path for me to go.
And
And
I know that you've been out since 97, was it?
yeah, well, actually 1996.
Okay, 1996.
And when you think about it, we have come so far since then. 1996, we didn't have the internet like we do now. We didn't have social media, Facebook or YouTube. We didn't have any of this, these type of connections. So when I left the organization, there was really no one to go to too much to really talk about your feelings about this at that time. And you say you was coming out at that time too, right? In 1996.
I got
And
baptized in 96. I got out in 2011 is when I got this fellowship. So, and I think
oh,
you got baptized just a year before me. So you were baptized in 95 and got out in 96. Am I correct?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And what has, I know you said like you said there was no support, nothing like
right.
that. Now we have the whole YouTube, Instagram,
Yeah,
Facebook, Reddit is the biggest ex-Jehovah's community out there. We have
yeah,
all these communities out there of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. A lot of them,
yeah,
in my opinion, are very negative, very lots of anger there, lots of resentment. I
yeah.
agree on that. But talk to me a little bit about where you are now because I love the energy that you and I shared before this conversation. So what has been something that you have has been really filling up your life right now in the last couple of years?
During the last couple of years, after, because me and my brother used to, handicapped brother used to be in business together back in 2002 when I was living in Lansing. When this business started. He got me involved in Avon, and I used to sell Avon. We did that for about a year, and then things, we weren't able to keep up with Avon, so we stopped the business. So we did about a year from between 2020 to 2021. And I loved selling Avon with him, and he helped me get the website up, and we would do Avon together. And it was a great business. And how he learned about Avon was through my sister, my older sister, the one, she can talk. So he got information about that through her, and it was a great business. So we did it for about a year when we was living in Lansing. And so what made me go back into that was after my brother died in 2016, it made me think about when we used to do the business together. So I re-signed up with Avon about a year after my brother died. And I was selling Avon. I would place brochures and magazines in the area, talk, talk to people a little bit on Facebook, on social media, listen to the learning programs on Avon, uh, on like YouTube and Facebook, and just started learning a little bit about the business. And I did Avon from 2017 to 2021, and I loved it. I loved the products and everything. But what made me stop was COVID. COVID came and I wasn't able to. I had some customers, not a lot of customers, but I had some in the area. But everything started slowing down when COVID came, and I wasn't able to, how they have conventions where you place the table and brochures that you would go as an Avon representative. and a lot of the businesses at that time when COVID came was closing. So it's kind of hard for me to, really get that sale. So that's why I stopped selling Avon and went on to another business called Rain International. And they sell like health and wellness products, mostly health and wellness products like herbs. Uh, and like the Rain Soul I would sell is a herb product. But it was hard for me to really get customers off of that. So I did that for about a year, up until last year. And so now, right now, after us, what what happened with that business is they had saw a post on me on one of the social media platforms. I think it was Pinterest that went against their company rules. And I told them I didn't know it was against their company rules, and I didn't really see the post up until they showed me, and they stopped my business, cut down my back office and stuff, and they thought that I should go on their website and explain what happened. And I did. I told them I was sorry for the post, but they took my business down. They shut down my back office, and I kind of felt that I just decided to leave the company because because of that. And then I saw started listening to yoga on YouTube, and started listening to this Indian lady on YouTube. And that's how I got into yoga, listening to doing yoga on from the videos on YouTube. And I still do it from the YouTube channel. And then I have a yoga class that I go to on Monday. So I really enjoy yoga, and I listen to this lady. Her name is Hansami Yogentra. She's pretty good yoga instructor. She's pretty good at what she teaches yoga, and also she talks about many different herbs and, and different things, the right type of foods to eat. She talks about all kinds of stuff.
I
And
that you also told me that you were really into meditation as well. So, and
yeah, yeah,
the Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to do meditation and yoga.
yeah. So I'm really into that now. Yoga, meditation, and online Bible class.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love how well-rounded you are, and that you can still enjoy the Bible without having it be part of a religion too. So you're looking at it as a book, which is a great way to look at it as well. Thank you
Right.
so much for this beautiful interview, Cozette. Is there something
Thank you.
you want to share with the audience that you feel like you missed out on?
Yeah. When it comes to sexual abuse, physical, verbal abuse, there are programs out there that help people. I don't have a number of information, but there are programs out there that helps people that's been physically, verbally, sexually abused, and you don't have to just listen to the elders because they don't help people with sexual abuse, any type of abuse. Those are not the people to go to for that. So that's really emotional for me. Yeah.
Thank you again for sharing, because I feel that there are so much sex abuse cases that go under the rug, and with
Yeah.
different lawsuits that are happening around the world from the Jehovah's Witnesses that never get, yeah, it all gets swept under the rug, as you said, but
Yeah.
not being declared as actual going into the authorities and having that being done. So again, thank you so much for that,
Hmm.
for just bringing that to an awareness at the end of this interview. I really appreciate it. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again for coming on my channel and doing this interview. I so appreciate you. And thank you
Hmm.
again for watching this video and making it to the end of the interview. Till next.
Thank you. Thank you.